Yes, good morning. Welcome to the Vanguard Show on podcast. Today's, February 20th, 2022. And we're joined today by a very special guest. We haven't seen her in quite a while, but our special guest today is Dr. Natalie Kennedy. She's an author, activist, inspirational speaker, and the owner and proprietor of Over the Books-Tampa Bay. And I believe that's in West Shore Plaza. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Well, welcome to the show, and we're glad to see you again. It's been a minute. I think the first time we saw each other was at the Tampa Bay Black Authors Expo. Is that right?
That is correct. It was good seeing you guys too. And now, thank you.
Yes. I remember when we drove there and we were like, okay, where is the place? And we saw these two lovely ladies sitting in the car. And I think I came over to you guys, or you guys came over to us. I forgot how it went, but I know we both were asking, okay, is it right over here? Or at least we were asking.
Right. So
it was such an honor to meet you and your mother, and we definitely send our blessings to you as well.
Thank you.
But it was wonderful to meet you. And I think Kathy has the first question as well.
Well, I wanted to ask you, first of all, I appreciate you taking the time out to actually interview with us.
I'm super excited.
And I would like to know at this time, tell us a little bit about how you started your journey where you are now.
I'm going to say, well, again, thank you so much. As an author, I like to write. Sometimes I like to talk. Sometimes I don't like to talk. So this is kind of like, hey, this is still good for me. But I think maybe fourth grade English teacher, doing poetry, and I liked English. A lot of people don't like English, and I like math. So, she was like, "Oh, you have something going on." And back then we had art classes and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. So, I think living in Philadelphia, my eyes, thank the Lord, I could see things, and I was like, what if, and how come, and what is this about? And I was always questioning. Mm-hmm. And in those questions, not really having too many people to talk to, I began to write. And I think that's how that all began. I had stacks. I don't even know where they're at now. I have a few of them. I had stacks and stacks of papers, and just, why is that? And how come this is happening over here? And, what school will I go to? Because we moved around a lot. And I was always writing the questions I asked myself. And I think that began really my journey on questioning, life, and writing it down, and what would become of these scratches of papers here and there. And I was mainly a loner a lot. So I was kind of like writing all the time. And, but sometimes they say that's therapy. So, So in turn, I began doing that, and, just everything that I did, playing basketball, just all of that. And went into the military. And again, the military is they kind of isolate you because of the you're changing every 4 years, 3 years. Mm-hmm. You meet some people and then you don't see them ever again. And even there, those nights when you're 24 hours, you're sitting watching the stars in some aircraft or whatever, I wrote then, and that actually became the beginning of the first book that I wrote of poetry. Poetry book here, Unleashed Voices, was called Silent Voices. No, it was called Silent Hearts, excuse me. And that was the many hearts that I had, met, but they were quiet. And we roamed, the city and life and all that, never really speaking, we're just there. But I ended up changing it to Unleashed Voices because that was the voices that never were really heard, mm-hmm. And I just changed the title to that. And that was actually done while I was in the military, 21 years, U.S. Navy, retired.
Oh, okay, all right.
So all of those collections of things that I wrote while I was in the military and things that I thought about when I was a child ended up in that book. And like I said, as a child, that's where Dr. Neighborhood came from, because that's actually me in a way, but not me, but an experience that I actually experienced during the summertime in Philadelphia. And we had a know-it-all. And so I ended up calling her a Dr. Neighborhood. So that's how that actually came. but that's where I'm at now. And then from there was just like, I still wanted to write and not to really to make money, but to not even a legacy, but just to leave something for someone to know about me, because who knows me, you know?
Mhm.
And this was one way of like, hey, yeah, Natalie, you know? So that's where I'm at. That brought me to all these other books, 7 of them,
Whoa.
completion
Wow.
of the books that and mainly children book. But as you already know, my first adult book, Twisted
Yes,
Yes.
we're gonna ask about that one too.
Yeah. But that's and that was like, should I, shouldn't I? Because that would be talking about me as an adult. It's like, I don't know if I really want people to know, you know, that little bit of part, because I'm writing a little bit. Everything that I've written always has a message in it. You know, there's a message in everything that I write, and I'm going to continue to write. That is the way I write. But even then, Twisted Love has a message in there as well. So yeah, and that's where I'm at right now. Yeah.
Okay. Who are some of your favorite writers coming up that influenced you?
Ooh, I needed to write that down and I forgot to do it last night. But I mean, we go back. Toni Morrison. I love James Baldwin. There's just so many. And most of them are African-American somewhat. Anika Giovanni, love her.
Right.
Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah.
I mean, just great. And because I'm in Florida, I have to get down to the Key West. I just have to. I have to. And I think one of the other pieces with Ernest Hemingway is smoking a cigar, sitting, drinking some wine, and just writing. I think that's me.
Wow.
That is me.
Wow.
But yeah, a lot of James Weldon Johnson. I mean, there's just so many. I mean, if you can write and you touch me, and no matter who you are, then you're going to be my favorite.
Okay.
You know, and I'll take lots and bits and pieces. Like Max Lucado is an inspirational writer. I love the way he writes. And I kind of sort of took a little bit in Twisted Love of how he writes, you know, off of a scripture and then tells about real life. And I like that way of writing as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Kathy's going to ask about the new publication that everybody should know.
Yes.
So, well, before we go to the new publication, one of my questions would be this: because you stated within your journey that you've actually gotten up to 7 books, question would be, from the beginning when you started your first book till now, anybody that's actually wanting to write, what were some of the challenges you had? And what have you learned over the several books that you've written that you could pass on to anybody who would like to write books?
Yeah, I'm trying to right now put those thoughts together now, because I'll be doing a summer camp and I'm going to be, I think they're going to be 6 years old to 12. And those are some of the things I'm gonna have to project out to them, you know, because they'd be like, I don't want to write, I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna tell you, everybody does want to write their story. They really do. There's something there. We all have a story, but sitting down and writing it, well, that's where you go. You start writing and then you stop, you know, or you'll start writing and go, I don't want to write that part. The thing I'm going to be telling them is write and stop, write and stop, write and stop. And it may not all sound right, you know, but when you go back later on, and it could be 2-3 years later, and you go and look at that, then you say, okay, let me try to work that through again and rewrite. So there's a whole lot of rewriting. And I think that's really the challenge for me. Was I stopped and started, especially in the military. I stopped, I started, I stopped and started, stopped and started. And then it got a little frustrated. And then it was like, do I really want to write? Do I really want to make a book? And I wasn't even thinking book. I was just writing. So I still have about 10 manuscripts I've written a long time ago, just sitting, waiting. And I pick and choose. Should I, shouldn't I, should I? So it's just stopping and starting. And I think that's why some other authors go, yeah, it's taken me 4 years to write, you know, or Special Delivery was done in 3 weeks, right? Because I was just, I was watching, I was July the 4th, I can't remember what year, but I was watching Tim McGraw. He was always humble and always be kind and humble. And he was singing this song and I was like, oh, that's such a nice song. I just brought out a piece of paper. I brought out a piece of paper and I just started writing. And it really wasn't about a dog. It was about people.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
it's like, you know, be kind, stuff like that. But my friend has a Boston Terrier. And I was like, wait, maybe I should write about a dog and being kind to this dog in the end. So that was actually about a week and a half of writing, but I kept writing.
Okay.
When there's other pieces like Twisted Love, where
Yes.
I stopped and started and stopped and started. And you almost have to tell yourself, hey, is this what you want? Is this how you are? Or, you know, that's just a challenge of an individual. How far do you want to keep writing on the same stuff? Or do you want to write and produce something? Or you just want to just write? And I think some of our, what they call the spoken words,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like how they are. You know, they're not really wanting to produce a book or nothing like that. They're just like, you know, I just want to speak. I want y'all to know, you know, what's on my heart or what they have written down. So, but that's what I would be kind of tell them. And just if you want to write, just keep writing and write and write. And eventually you'll get that aha moment and go, you know what? I really want to make this into a story. I want to share it with somebody. And that's where I'm at now. And that's what I would tell them. Keep writing. That's what I'm telling them now. Keep writing until it hits you.
Correct.
And it's like, yes. Mm-hmm.
So,
before I can't.
You actually brought up the Twisted.
Right.
So tell me about that. How did you come up with your Twisted Heart actual title?
Twisted Love. Anyway.
Look, and with the heart.
With the heart, well, you know, and in general, though, I wanted the heart to be a little bit of twisted kind of, but I didn't want to scare anybody because I really wanted it to be all twisted up.
Yeah.
But they would be like, oh my God, is this about death? Or, you know what I mean? Because it's all twisted. But the words, I love this. This is kind of twisted, and even the love is twisted. But it's twisted love, kind of, sort of.
Okay.
Right. And the pieces is that, you know, all my life, you know, everybody's always been, you know, you hear it here and you hear some sad stories where no one's never really loved me or people love me or, you know, and as I grown older, I was like, what really is love? And I think in other countries, they express love, not really saying it in a whole different way than we do here. And so all my life, I've always been wondering about that word love, and it kind of bothers me. And it had been bothering me for a long time. And I think just one moment, I was like, you know, I'm going to write something about that. And that's what it was. I just started writing, not knowing if I could put it together. Would it be a story? Would it be about somebody? What will it really be? And that was one of the challenges because I wrote this a while ago. And I just didn't know how I was going to present it. And that was the piece. How are you going to present it? But I'm actually, it's being presented as just think about how you love. Just I'm having them understand my perspective and they think about how they really love. Is it real? Is it fake? Is it twisted in a way? You know? Kind of, sort of. And I'm not putting anybody down about love. I'm just saying, just think about how you love someone. If you're going to love someone, because look it up, the definition. We all have many definitions. Whatever it is for you, definitely love for real. And I think that's what I was pushing out in this book. And I'm excited about it. I think it's wonderful.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And during this month, during Valentine's.
Yeah, and that's
which is twisted in itself, right?
Believe me, that's one of the challenges of researching and trying to get a publisher. Do you self-publish? You know, how do you each one of these books, okay, were published differently, each one of them. 2 of them, 3 of them by different publishers, me trying to self-publish. That's kind of some of the challenges I will be talking about in the camp, you know, if they're starting to think further, because I will be talking to some adults as well that want to do their story. But, you know, this was twisted kind of publishing because, woo, I tell you, and that can exhaust you if you're trying to work with someone or if you're knowledgeable and you can actually self-publish it yourself. But this was something else because, like you said, Valentine's Day, that was when I wanted to just sort of come out. But it's okay because some things do happen, as they say, for a reason. And so it's okay that now that everybody's loved and roses and candy and all that, now let's start. Why did you really do it?
Right.
That's it. So pick up the book and have a good read on it.
That's right. That's right. And that's how I'm sort of kind of like promoting it. Okay, all your little stuff y'all did, we know it was twisted. Now go on and read this and see how it really, and you should be loving all through the year. Yeah.
And I was going to ask you, who did the art work for the cover?
Actually, a guy, Eli, the book guy.
Okay.
He's here. I wanted to do something local this time.
Okay.
And so he's here in Tampa, and he's a Crunch Time publishing company. And he actually just does, he doesn't really like publish, but he does, formatting and artwork, and, just looking up different areas for images. I think that's really what he does. Anyway, he did do this, Mr. Eli Biden, and I thought it was great. We only had 2 revisions because he had some kind of tree in here and a shadow of a man inside, and I'm like, what's going on there? No, you don't want to be difficult, and sometimes you still have to
you have your vision.
Say what you
That's
want.
it.
Yeah. So it ended up perfect, wrapped around on the back. I love it. And that's what we want to know. Will they look at this and say, yeah, let's see. The pieces in the back, they read it and go, because some people think it's about sex.
Right.
But, they're like Twisted Love. Oh my gosh. If you go on Amazon, Twisted Love is out there and other, competition. And most of them is like, it's a man and he's like over a woman. It's all kinds of stuff going on. But this is more inspirational and just say, take a look at yourself and how you love and love for real.
Okay, all right. And I also ask, what brought you down from Philadelphia to Tampa, St. Petersburg? Why Tampa in terms of a place?
Oh, yeah, I think we talked about that when we were together a couple of years ago, what brought me here. But what happened was, of course, being in the military, and I think I wanted to go to Virginia for my last duty station. And the only time I've been in Florida was the women's boot camp was in Orlando. So from Philadelphia to Orlando, my first airplane ride, I got down to Orlando, and it's like, okay, Disney World, okay. And I didn't want to come here ever again. It's no big deal because I'm a northerner,
Right.
I like the snow. Some people don't, but I like the snow. I like the coolness. I like the seasons, know. So, but the last duty station, they sent me to Mayport, Florida, which is near Jacksonville.
Okay.
And so I'm like, wow, I guess it'll be the last place because you don't want to keep moving all the time. It's really a pain in the butt. But I was like, okay, I'll just stay here, for the rest of my life. But Jacksonville just seems so country to me. Big old country town. I mean, it's got 1 million people, but it's just very kind of spread out, there's still horses and sheep I see. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, no. So, but I end up landing a really great job working with the Florida Department of State and the HIV when people was trying to know what's going on. So I became like the director of education for educating the community on HIV and AIDS. A lot of people did not know the difference, where you're going to die, just all kinds of stuff. Right. And that was really great with USF. So I ended up in Tampa. Oh, that's how I got down to Tampa. And I was like, Tampa, what is this? Right. I don't know. But and it's booming. But Tampa is a good, better than Miami or Jacksonville or Tallahassee. So I'm going to say Tampa's really a nice city. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You have a question, Kathy?
Well, I was going to ask you, coming up while you were actually doing your scratch work, anything came to mind that gave you that aha moment of when you wanted to start that first book? It's like, what triggered you to start your first book?
I'm going to say that's a really good question because, like I said, Silent Hearts was kind of like dedicated to my brother. He passed away in 2011. But, you know, just him for 20 years, I didn't know where he was or, you know, ever spoke to him or nothing, but we knew he was alive because I kept up with my mom on that. But it was like, you know, I wonder why he doesn't, you know, and I think I really wanted to, you know, get the books of poetry that I had that spoke about a lot of people who never expressed to their families or not even expressed to themselves or whatever, to put that together and share it with others. And I'm a sharing person. I got to stop doing that, but I'm a sharing person. I know, right? It just, sometimes it drains you, but I want to share it. Matter of fact, all of my books, I just want to just share and share. If I could give away all my books, I would love to, but you know, that's kind of ridiculous.
Right.
But I wanted to share, and I just wanted people to read what I have written and say, yeah, that's me. I think that's why a lot of other people write, you know, when they do, especially the self-help books that are out there that are bestsellers. They read it and they go, yeah, that's me. And how did they overcome? And yeah, you know, so I think someone gave me, and I don't have it with me, the cover of Silent Hearts was just beautiful. And it was like, hey, we can put a cover, you can put your poetry, and boom, you can have a book. And I was like, really? You know, and so we did that, but it wasn't published. It was just something I had, like a keepsake. There it was, yay. And I'm like, but how do people get to, and I was learning, that was my first learning experience. It was just a book that we could put together in a notebook ourselves and walk around with a cover on top. But Silent Hearts, and that's when I said, let me publish for real. And we changed the cover, and we went on, you know, ISBN, we made it for real. And then I said, yeah, let's do it so I can, you know, share it with the mass. And so after the sketching, and then once I did this, I was like, hey, we can keep doing it, you know, save that money, you know, and do it. And I'm going to be saving even more because I'm going to learn, and I'll be sharing that with others, how to self-publish, and you can almost do it yourself, you know, upload, y'all know.
And that's what I was going to say, because I think because you've done so many, and I know you've learned and grown from each one, that'd be a great lead into a self-help type book for others that would like to pursue it, whether it's on a children's level all the way up to adults, because right now there's not a true guide on how to actually achieve that, whether you want to self-publish.
Right. And I think there are some avenues for people, but I think, you know, some of them, like there's tutorials on it, but, you know, really, over and over, you have to keep watching it. It's like, you know, I'm kind of like, show me, and then I can learn it. I can write some notes down, but that tutorial, then you do this, then you do that. They're talking quick. Right. So I need a person to show it. I know if I'm like that, I know that there's others like that as well. And then the other piece is that many people want to, they're out there. You see it on Facebook. Hey, we can show you how to self-publish. We can do this. And okay, $199, you know, bop. You're like, wait a minute. And though I won't get rich right away, but I don't really want to charge. I want them to be able to, so they can do it. You know what I mean? And so I'm in that stage right now, Kathy, where I'm trying to learn a little bit.
Yes.
If I could just not be so scared, and that's the other piece of technology.
Right.
You know, I spoke to someone yesterday, and he's like, "Oh, I've been trying to self-publish, but they're trying to get the margins together and the format. I just can't." And I was like, I was painting for him because he's like, "Yeah, I know what you mean," you know, because he was trying to get it together, because you can tell the difference of a self-published book and a book that's done by, you know,
like a published company. Yeah,
you can almost tell the look of it. And I was explaining to him, you can tell the look of it because it could be all smeary or out of focus, and you know, they do it precisely because they know how to get it right, you know, and they have all those other tools. So I'm going to learn that. That's going to be my next big step. And once I learn that, those 10 manuscripts,
yes, And look, and on top of it all, just like you're saying, as you're doing your steps, is to take your notes, because that becomes your steps for others when you actually do publish that one. But also with that question would become, would you also make yours one of the Audible books? So that way those can have it as a tutorial as well, so they can just go back and rewind.
Yes, yes. And I am really that's in between me learning, then it's the audio, because a few people want me to read. Yes. Twisted Love, because they say I have such a wonderful voice, and I do.
You do.
Because I was gonna say, a lot of people, they'll actually read, but I hate to say it, we're a little lazy sometimes. So I have both. I'll read it, but then also while I'm cooking or something, I like to listen to it, because also for me, listening to it, I retain it a whole lot faster, almost like if somebody's actually doing a lecture for me. So the thing about it is, I think for some of the people who might also have eye issues like I do with glasses, this is a perfect way that I could read and listen at the same time.
Right, right. And I do agree with that. I think that is my next step this year, because so many people have said, Natalie, do audio, I'm like, yeah, I just have to figure it out. See, I can't do it in my home because I live near a street and you can hear the ambulance, the cars. So right now I'm trying to focus on a place where it'd be quiet, and I would definitely be reading, because I probably put people to sleep, because I'm not bragging, but my voice can be a little soothing. I was an air traffic controller for 20 years, well, maybe 19. Okay. And a lot of the pilots used to say, can we come visit up in the control tower? We want to see who brought us down, and all this other stuff. And they would come up, they were surprised to see it was me, right. But, because I was back in the 70s and the 80s, and all that. But 70s and 80s, wait a minute, 80s and 90s, wait a minute, not that old.
I said, you're a little young for that.
Yeah, right. But they would come up and they would go, who brought us down on radar and all that? And I would turn around and they'd go, oh, hello, right? Because they were expecting to see somebody else, but there I was. And it was only because, sometimes you have to have for air traffic controlling, a calm voice, even when things are happening, soothe them in so they won't get upset. They're trying to, you've been in planes, they're trying to get it together. And we were trained not to be, be all hyped up with them. And so that's probably where I kind of practice this in the end, that my voice is kind of soothing. I can roll with it and I can put you to sleep. I've had many days where you put me to sleep and I'm like, well, sorry. Just
so
by
look,
talking to
them on the phone.
I would
listen to your voice. Look, on your book, I would listen to your voice listening to your voice, read the book to me.
And you'll be sleeping. You'll have to go over it again while you're driving. Don't go to sleep, but while you're driving, and just be like, wow, that was great. But yeah, you're right. In listening, we can retain more. It does help me as well. So that's going to be also, Kathy, one of my next steps is putting it on audio, because even Dolphin's Tale for our children, just be great, because then I could be animated, just as it is in here. It's like, oh, wow, I see the dolphin tail, stuff like that. I need to put at least 2 of these books on audio, and I think that's my next project. Yes.
Because that would be great. Like you're saying, it was the kids' book, and then it's talking about the little dogs, and you hear the little barking, that little animation with it. Oh, man, that would be awesome.
I think it would too. Thank you for helping me to remember to do it. Right.
But I had a question. I definitely want to ask about Over the bookstore you have in Tampa Bay, as well as all the things you do in the community. Because I follow you on social media. You're always out and about. But first, let's talk about Over the bookstore, then your activities in the community.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, Over the Books is in homage to Overbrook High School, where Will Smith went to.
Yeah. Will Chamberlain as well, right?
Will Chamberlain,
yeah.
Right? I didn't want to go back that far, but and so I saw he has done some productions, and some of his productions are Over the Book productions. And I was like, hey, wait a minute, that is so cool that he's remembering his school and in his production. I was like, yes. So I took that, yes, I did, to we have books that we love, Over the Books, and reading over the books. And so that's how Over the Books came, and I'm loving it. Over the Books. It's great. And so the thing about it is, I think a long time ago, I always wanted to have a bookstore, always.
Okay.
I'm talking 20, 30, 40 years ago. It's like, wouldn't that be great? Just going into a library is just beautiful. You're like, whoa. But to have a bookstore is like, just sit like they have. I was thinking this a long time ago, but now they have them. You can sit, you can have coffee or tea or espresso or whatever. You can have wine now, drinking, and there's books everywhere. And you can sit. Barnes and Nobles, they have a place where you can sit. It's just all of that. I was thinking that long time ago. However, it really never really happened. I did get the opportunity to take the books that I had already. It was just a little bit of books, to take those books and sell. So I'm like, ooh, selling. That means that's a business. Ooh, I don't know about that because I'm retired. I mean, what? Should I be like, oh my gosh, I got to worry about this and that and all that. So I really wanted it to be simple, but then books are heavy, very, very heavy. And so I was like, ugh, I'm older now. I can't, it's not going to work for me. So I had the opportunity to go into the mall, West Shore Mall here in Tampa. And they said, would you like to just set up your books here and, introduce your books and have other books? Of course, I was concentrating on people of color, authors and illustrators, and I was just going to stick with that, and hopefully it worked, and it does work. And I think it's great because a lot of people come into that area called the Collective at Artisan Row. I'm inside there with 10 other designers, and they say, I've never seen these books before. And I want to say, where y'all live at? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, well, that's great when they say it, but I do in the back of my head go, where y'all at? But that's great because then they see that and they're just like, oh my gosh, this is like heaven. I've never seen us, they would say, on covers, the children. And this, I'm like, oh, okay, this is great. So right now, I've been there a year. So far it's like, I hear that all the time. So I was like, should I not know more or should I continue? And I'm going to continue because their excitement. I just had a vending yesterday and they were just like, I'll take that one and I'll take that one, I'll take that one. And it was like, this is great because wherever they're at in their life, this book, you know what I mean? It's like excitement to them. And it's like, I'm going to read. And I even put out our Spanish books. I don't know a lick of Spanish. And I was hoping nobody would come and say, what is this? What is this? But if they looked at it, obviously they know some Spanish. So they were like, oh yeah, right. And I got all my Spanish books got sold. I was really excited about that. So I'm going to continue. Even during our Hispanic Heritage Month, I was able to get local authors who were Spanish and illustrators. And I was like, hey, I don't mind. Give me a book, I'll put it right here. I'll give you $1 back. No, anyway, but just do that. And they were like, yeah. And so we were able to do that. I don't mind doing that. I also have our local authors that are here in St. Petersburg and what's that other, Tallahassee, anybody that's local, and I find them, I say, hey, give me a book and I'll put it here and, we can promote and let people know where you're at. I don't mind that as well. And so in turn, doing the Over the Books, that's where Tiny Bites and Books came from because I do a lot of advocate for the homeless here in Tampa Bay area, Clearwater, and Hillsborough County. And I've always have been giving back, even when I was in the military. I think that's where it really came. But before that, my mother was always in the community as well. And so I'm sure me seeing her dragging me to this place and that place and this place and that place, somewhere in the back of my mind, it came forward and say, you continue to do that as well, no matter where you are in the world. And I did that when I was in the military. And then when I got out, I continued. And I love doing it. And they're just like all excited. You're giving me this, you give me what, and some of them are not always like just homeless, just on hard times, but just someone giving them something is just great. And that's going to be my motto, is giving is my passion, but helping others is my purpose. And that's what I'm going to be punching on forever until my last breath, because That's me. And people in Philly said, "You're your mother's daughter." Yes, we know. Stop saying that. I already know. But Tiny Bites and Books, I started out with books, free books that I was collecting. People were donating to me. And I wanted to see while they're sitting on the corner or they're just sitting in the park, if they wanted a free book. That didn't really go off too well. But what did go off was the word searches and the crossword puzzles. And so I switched up, and instead of giving them a book to read, that probably was just too much. I got large print and they were just grabbing them. Yes, I love that, And so Tiny Bites and Books, I give them through the proceeds of me selling my books from Over the Books. I, make little toiletry bags with some snacks in them, and they can get a crossword puzzle. So that's very exciting. And that's how Tiny Bites and Books came out. But still, monthly, as you can see, I go out and, I got stuff in my car right now. It's like they're on the corner. I make a U-turn and turn around just so I can be at the red light. Here you go. They're just like, oh, thanks, So the favorite is Lipton tea. Peach. Right. They love it. I'm just like, oh my gosh, So you can give them water's fine, but when you give them something special, they probably think this person cares about me. Right. And they don't even know me. And I think that helps me in our daily walk of this crazy world that we live in. It actually helps me. And that's why I still do what I do. Yeah.
If you have some advice for young writers or young people that want to get into writing, what kind of advice would you have for them to begin that journey?
It's that big word, write. Just write. When you're feeling it, when I do the camp, that's the first thing I'm gonna give them is a journal. I feel before they go to the phone and start playing that game, something is making them do some of these things that it becomes a habit and it's empty. Right. How about if you write whatever you're feeling, whatever it is, even if you don't like your mama, that particular day, school sucked, just write that and close it up maybe. Right. But I think the encouragement would be, write your feelings, don't be built up, because that's how we get a lot of things that happen. Our suicides at young, they might be going through something, they can't talk to anybody. Well, go ahead and write it. Write is the word exclamation mark. Write down your feelings. We don't know where it's going to go, but write it down, because you might not be able to talk to anybody. But let's begin to write. And I think that's what I did in the beginning, was to write. Oh, I'm sitting up in here, me and Michael Jackson, just listening, just, drinking my soda and I'm looking up. I just wrote that and, close it up. I may come back to it later. I even do it now. You know what? I'm going to write that down, close it up. And then later I read and I go, what was that about? You know what I mean? So it's like, but sometimes I can get a story on that one line that I wrote that I was going through at that time. So the main thing would be to write. And I think that's how I'm going to try to put, y'all all got a story, you all feel something. How about we start to write this down now? I have to share. Remember the journals with the little lock on?
Oh, yes, remember that. Right.
I don't think they have them anymore. Or it costs a lot of money. But it's like, no, and then they would put it underneath their mattress. Nobody can see it, But that's cool. But in a way, at some point, you do want it to be discovered. And I think that's why we have so many books, because at some point, those writings turn into a story and it probably helps somebody else. And so I think even the littlest little 5-year-olds, because our 5-year-olds are now so smart. I don't know what's going on. The water, the eggs, the chicken, I don't know. But they're becoming very smart where they can even write. I love looking at the sky that is gray today.
Right.
That could be a story right there. But they can write that. Even if it's all crooked and the words are not spelled right, they know what they're writing, or a picture. So that's what I'm going to be doing with the younger ones. It's like, okay, you don't really want to write, well, let's draw. Because from that drawing, that sketch or whatever, they might bring a story from there, or I can help them bring a story from whatever stick figure they wrote or sketched out. Or let's write, but it's the writing is what I'm going to, let's write what we feel. Let's write that you don't want to be here. Write that down.
Right.
And we'll elaborate on that later.
Okay.
Yeah. Because to me, writing is therapeutic on its own, whether it eventually leads into a book or it's just to get it off your chest.
Right. Especially like I was saying with the spoken word, I think one time I did an improv on my life. I said, I don't have anything written. I'm not really, you would have to read your poetry. I was like, I'm just going to get up there. And I just did. I just got up there and I said, y'all don't know me. That was the name of it, kind of. Y'all don't know me, but let me tell you, I may not know myself. Way back in Philly, on the corner sitting, hydrant open. I just started talking, Yes, I could have wrote that down. This is true. And then I would always have it. It would be, but then I knew that I wanted to maybe say it a different way the next time I did it. And I did. So I never wrote that improv kind of, this is my life, you don't know me. I think I need to probably write it down probably, but it was just kind of like different. And that's how I wanted to. And so a lot of times sometimes they don't even write their stuff down. They just get up there and just start, yay, this is it. But if you wanted to be known and repeated over and over again, you would write. So it's writing is what we want to do. Begin to write.
Right. Well, I think it's such a important art form. And I think of Pablo Picasso, who once said that our goal in life is to discover our gift. Our purpose in life is to give it away or share it. And it's about really discovering that gift. When did you first say, okay, I'm pretty good at this writing genre?
I haven't yet.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. You're always reaching for it.
Right. I haven't yet. I think Twisted Love.
Okay.
I'm getting some feedback now, but I think Twisted Love is kind of like, oh, maybe I'm okay with writing, with the children's stories, home is where the honey is. It was almost like, okay, well, I'm playing with this story, and it's okay, it's cute. But I think Twisted Love is the one that's probably saying, maybe those other 10 that you got stashed away, start bringing them out. And maybe there is a writer really in you. So I haven't got there yet, but I'm feeling it. And just like Kentucky Fried Chicken Man, the Colonel, it was 67 when he was like, hey, I'm Chicken Man,
Right.
So maybe at some point it'll be like, there you are, Nat.
Because you think about it, sometimes
a writer.
Sometimes we find our journey in retirement. It's like because you're free now to actually think. It's like how they say the world is at your fingertips, and now you can say, "Let me paint my own canvas."
Yes. And that's exciting because actually, Kathy, I have thought that many a days since I retired, my second retirement from the VA Department of Veterans Affairs, which I love, but I felt that I needed to just stop. At some point, if you're able to just stop and be okay, not being rich or anything, but be okay, so you can live a life instead of every day. I said, you know what, I may be too young to do this, but I'm going to do it. And then once I realized, not too long ago, January, I was just laying there. It's like, you know what? Stop now. You can see and feel and look, and you don't have to worry about, times and this and deadlines and all that. And finally hit me, but it took me about 6-7 months because I was still a robot. I was like, oh no, get up, do ... And I was retired. And I was like, wait a minute, And so now that's how I think even more Twisted Love was able to come out, because I was no longer, I was free in a way. And so now I think I'll even be more freer, those 10 to start to come out and do more. Yeah.
Oh, I can see more coming out because you're released now.
I'm released. I'm free.
Now, how can people get copies of your book, and how to get in touch with the bookstore you have as well?
Yes, well, of course, if they're in the Tampa Bay area, they can come to the West Shore Plaza in Tampa at the Collective of Artisan Row, next to K Jewelers and the tree store around from the food court.
Oh, okay.
They can do that. That's easy find. Okay. Like I said, there's 10 designers in there. They're all unique designers, jewelry and everything. But then again, there's the books. The books need to come a little forward, but that's okay. Because eventually when they make that turn, they fall right into the books. There they are. Ta-da! Okay. So that's great. They can do that. They can also go to overthebooks.com.
Okay.
I'm working on that website because I'm learning more about technology.
Mhm.
So I'm able now to go in and try to put some books on sale so that can be a good online bookstore for the type of books that I'm selling to reach out to those people of color for authors and illustrators. So overthebooks.com, you can get a book. You definitely would get any book that way autographed because I have to actually mail it out. So I sign every book that I mail out. So
Cool.
that's always a great way.
Okay.
Like I said, the Plaza, www.nataliemkennedy.com. Boom. I'm changing that website so that when they go on there to see the other works that I do,
Mhm.
then it'll also link you to Over the Books as well, and they can get a book there. And they can also learn about me, and that's why I'm trying to make that, because they just see Over the Books when I send them there, but they don't, I give them a card, Over the Books, okay, but they don't get to know the person behind Over the
Right.
Books, and I want them to know that. So I'm kind of like incorporating both of those websites together, and they can go, oh, matter of fact, that's what she does. And I want them to know that the proceeds when they buy a book goes right back out to the community, which is very, very important. Yes.
And also, are you on Amazon as well?
I am on Amazon in a twisted kind of way.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yes, when I did Dr. Neighborhood, right? And when I did the Dolphin's Tale, these three special delivery were all done by the same publisher, and everything went like clockwork. Dun, 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 boom, Amazon. It was great. I didn't have to worry about anything. Twisted Love, I tell you,
Okay.
boy, we just got on there, which is really, really great. All my books, I told someone to put Natalie Kennedy books or books by Natalie Kennedy, and most of them do come up. Twisted Love is way down below. Somehow I have to bring it up so that would be the first book that they see. But all my books, all of them. Oh, okay. All of them except for Home is Where the Honey is on Amazon. Every one of them. So we're working on getting this one on. And this is like a secret one because I did an animal instead of a person. But all my books are on Amazon.com. Yes.
Okay. And what future plans and projects do you have coming up that we can tell people?
Again, I'm going to try to do a podcast called Words in Motion. That's also going to be the name of the summer camp. It's going to be Words in Motion. That way we can get those words that they will begin to write in motion. Right. No matter, even if they put it in a book or just have it as a keepsake, because that's really the beginning. When you ask one of those kids who's 10 years old and now they are 25 years, how'd you get started? Words in Motion back in Tampa. I began to write. And that would be like, whoa, and that would probably be my legacy because it was like, Dr. Natalie M. Kennedy, she talked to me, we worked it out, we wrote together, and here I am now. They are bestseller at the age of 25. How did it begin? Words in Motion in Tampa. So that's kind of like really exciting for me for the summertime. I continue to do Tiny Bites and books. I am going to probably put out another book.
Okay.
Later in the year, because I'm now getting excited now. I think I got the rhythm. So I think I'm probably put out another, me learning how to upload myself. We'll see.
Okay.
And like I said, I'll be on fire once I learn how to do that. But I have those projects going on. The audio I would like to get done. I'm trying to put a little team together of 2 or 3 people, local authors here that can help me. But I tell you, that's a little twisted too, because they try to get that time together with these 3 different people, It's kind of really hard, but we're going to work on that. I'm getting some of my books in a beauty salon. Hopefully they won't be touching them just to read through, that they'll buy the book. So we're going to see if that's a project that might work. I am doing books and donating them to the barbershop. So I have a little collection of books there that we stick in there. I went to one the other day and the books would land all over the place. I can't stand that. I want them to be sitting up so that the kids or who are adults as well can read. Don't they? Anyway, to pick out a book, and it would be free if they wanted to take them home. I can continue to supply that as I get other donated books. So I got a few things that I want to do. Some people say I'm being busy. Not really. That's not being busy. That's just me being, and it's good, And if I don't want to do it, I won't.
Oh, that's
I'm free, right?
That's it. A question for you. I know when you said some you bring in, like, let's say to the barbershop, different areas. How about this? Have you checked to see about donating some to the public library where they can do the read to the kids books?
Yes, I have. Matter of fact, I met a librarian yesterday. She walked by and says, I'm a librarian. I love librarians because they're weird. Anyway, because all they do is books, and words. That's their life.
Right.
But we did talk about that yesterday. And there's some things that's why I say, how do you ask that question? How do you feel? Do you feel you were right? I'm like, I would love to be in a library. It's like, how do I do it? And if I had a connection, well, I would just be right there. But when I have to kind of do some of my own legwork, I get a little shy and I'm just like, no, I'll just wait. It'll come, it'll wait. But I think now I'm starting to get that confidence. See, I'm still working on. So I'm getting that confidence where it's like, hey, I'll knock on the door. The door's open, they swing open and I walk in and I say, hey, how can we, so I can read this? How can we get these books? I just learned that a lot of need that binding. They need the words here because flat out, sometimes it doesn't work that way. None of my books have that. I just started with Twisted Love to make sure we have the title here. So that's something that I'm learning, which is really, really interesting to me. I'm like, yeah, okay, now I know. So, and that the library would want that. They would want to see, because that's how some of the books go in there. And for them to, I have to go into Tampa. I live in a different area in the Palm Harbor area. So I have to go into Tampa to say, here I am, use me. And I say that to many of our principals and that are out there, those who used to be teachers, those that do stuff in the community and in community centers. I said, well, I'm here. I didn't want to tell them I'm free, but I'm here and use me. And I would definitely love to read to the children. So I've been doing some of that as well, but getting into the library would just be great. But I know I have to, I'm working with another organization called Reading, it's called Curid, and I don't want to know what it means and I don't want to mess it up, but that's an organization inside Tampa and they do in the downtown area of West Tampa. And so we're starting to work together where I'll be able to read in the community center. So
cool.
That's going to be really cool too. And I'm loving that as well. I'm just waiting on them because I'm free and I'm, and I'm waiting and they're just slow motion, so it's nothing I could do about that. So.
Wow. Well, in conclusion, I was going to say, how can people follow you on social media, reach out to you directly, and all the websites again where people can go and find you?
Great. I mean, and I'm a person that if you hit me, I'm not like some of my friends. They text me in the morning. I text them in the morning. They text me at night. What is that about? I know you. Come on, talk to me. So I will get back to you almost immediately because I'm free, right? And I just have all day to look at my phone. Right. But it does beep, and I go, oh yeah, let me get to that. So I don't want to forget. So I'm going to get right back to whoever contacts me. So I have an author, what do they call it? IG, Instagram. I'm trying to get like everybody. IG, IG. I have an author Instagram, which is DRWINKEN1. That's Dr. Winken 1. And the reason for that is obviously Dr. Win was my other name. Winfield. Ken is my name now. And one, because I am number one. So that's how that kind of goes in there. That's how we can remember. So DRWINKEN1 is on Instagram. Over the Books TV, which is Over the Books Tampa Bay. And that's for the Over the Books Instagram. As I said, www.nataliemkennedy.com. You can contact me there. The Gmail is everywhere. But once you get on those, I always put those emails that you can contact me. One time I put my phone number. That was crazy, but we won't do that now because it's worldwide. But people calling me and I'm like, no, block. We don't want to do that. But those are the two areas because I think Instagram is the main social on that. Facebook, author Natalie M. Kennedy on Facebook, Over the Books on Facebook. There I am. You can contact me. I would love to give you my phone number, but I'm not going to.
Okay.
But if you contact me on those platforms, you can get me. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you, and And
Same.
again, we're gonna have you back real soon. And we look forward to seeing you in person because Kath and I
Right.
always
Yes.
go back and forth to Tampa. So we look
Oh,
forward
cool.
to seeing you.
And-
All
and-
right, I appreciate it. It was good seeing you guys. And I was like, really? They want to talk to me. Yay. And I watch y'all all the time. Not all the time. I'm lying. I'm sorry. I
Right.
watch you here and there.
Right,
when I
Right.
get
that's
a
fair. Yeah, you busy, I know.
Yeah, but it's good seeing you guys. And I do appreciate you giving me this opportunity. And I hope people contact me, even just to just talk back and forth, or for me to give them some advice. I would be more than happy to do that. Yeah.
Okay. And I was gonna say, we're gonna also post all your information on the website as well. And what we'll do is go and grab it from Amazon and post those as well.
Very good. I appreciate that very, 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 very much. Very much. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, thank you. We're gonna end the show right now, but stay on real quick and we'll get right with you, just to dialogue for a minute. But again, thank you for appearing on the Vanguard Show and look forward
Thank
to seeing you again.
And you will. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.